Nobody wants to type in this, no matter how good it is. Instead, people want a Minecraft world that's just not absolute piss, and the future, therefore, is one-letter Minecraft seeds. A single key press can allow you to have any of these worlds, but which letter should you press? Well, I've got this, because every one-letter seed will be tested today and categorized, so the next time you want to be lazy, you know which key to press. To make it even easier for you, here is the best one in my opinion, according to Later Me, but I'll go through and work out the top 5 and why, so you can know exactly what to expect from each lazy key press on your keyboard. But let's get started with the first one. And it is looking surprisingly decent. This looks like somewhere you could start building on basically immediately. But anyway, some important ground rules about how we do these reviews. We are on the Bedrock version of the game, but terrain is the same between Bedrock and Java. Whether or not you have vibrant visuals on, it just looks a bit sadder. And also, we'll have coordinates in the top left at all times. This is a Bedrock feature that allows you to see exactly where a given terrain feature or structure actually is. So let's start looking around this seed now, shall we? Because my initial impression is, wow, what a good spawn. Having a giant plains biome is good, then having a jungle for the new wood and for all the other stuff is even better, but then having a savanna over here, and not just any savanna, a savanna containing a village, puts this on strong footing to be one of the great average Minecraft seeds. That, you know, like, I'm not going to tell you, like, yeah, this is the best seed ever, but if you're looking for a good world, above average maybe even, or if you're looking for an average world and want a best version of it, this is what I would look for. It's really, really nice and savanna-y over here. It's really nice and jungly, literally 300 blocks away. That's just a couple minutes walk. And it's not just any jungle, it's a jungle with a jungle temple. This structure is one you can spend 8,000 blocks searching for, or you can get lucky and have it right next to spawn by typing in the easiest seed possible. But the seed gets even better because it has some other lazy terrain gen near spawn. For example, literally could compare the spawn coordinates to the coordinates of this little hill over here. I noticed it on the way over, and it looks like there's some stone here, which to me is the telltale sign of a lava pit. Instant access to the nether, should you want it. But even better than that, if you follow the same plains biome from spawn, just a bit along, you can find this over here, which is a little bit hillier, so maybe slightly less good for building on, but still it represents hundreds of blocks of building, and there's just a giant cave in the middle of it, and I love easy jump-in caves. Sometimes it's nice to make your own one, but sometimes it's nice when Minecraft says, yeah, don't worry about making caves, we've got that for you, and this cave takes you not just down to Deep Slate Lair, with dripstone, but also there's just a dungeon in here with skeletons and multiple chests. What's not to love? Wait, is that 2 music discs? Who gets to spawn and have 2 music discs without having to break a block? And so, to come back to spawn here, I'm going to have to say that even though the best feature of this world is the flatness and the biomes around the spawn, you know, this is the classic flat land that everyone actually wants from a world, even though that might be the best feature of this world, it's not the thing I will title it after. I'm going to give this world title The Abyss, because what this world actually encourages you to do is to explore and enjoy some of the hard bits of Minecraft. Whether that's fighting a jungle temple, you might argue that that's hard or not, but whether that's going into a big cave, or whether that's going to the nether, it makes these things easier than before, and if you are feeling lazy, I feel like it can hardly get better. But maybe I'm wrong. For now, this is a solid start. Again, above average, so I think that's a 7 out of 10. Does it get any better? I certainly hope so for the premise of this video. I'm going to be really disappointed if the entire world looks like this spawn, because I'm not going to find any insects near spawn here, which was the perfect way for this world to be. This is what happens when you type in the letter B, and honestly, it does have to be said, this is someone's perfect Minecraft world. Having a giant icy land right at spawn, really, really nice. It's the perfect Christmas seed, and as you'll be reminded if you go into a store, Christmas is just getting closer, but also that means that if you want to start riding around in a boat, having some fun right off the get-go, you can do that too. But also, it means that if you want to have these beautiful, kind of like Austrian Alps or whatever, you know, like a mountain valley style appearances, you can have that right here. But as far as biome diversity goes, you get just taiga, snowy slopes taiga, and basically you get exclusively the same 2 biomes in different variants. And so that means that this world is not very diverse. I think if I was going to give this world a title, it would be Brrr. because it is very, very cold everywhere. Even the not cold bits are actually cold biomes. I'm going to have to go ahead and call this the Burr Seed. Its best feature is the fact that it probably has some nice areas to build on. Personally, I think one of the most underrated build locations is an ice lake. It's perfectly flat. That's really wonderful, of course. But as well as being perfectly flat, you also have the wonderful ability to not have mobs spawn near you because they can't spawn on transparent blocks. And so build your house on an ice lake and enjoy what is, in my opinion, a 4 out of 10 seed. It has one redeeming feature for one set of people, maybe. What will our third seed contain? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Oh, heck yes, there is actually a bunch of it. Oh, yeah, that is a lot of C right by the spawn. And genuinely, I would say generally speaking, I find this to be one of the worst things, is having this, like, giant, hill you have to climb or jumping right into an ocean. But in this case, you can see to the other side, even with vibrant visuals, where things are a little bit tricky to see, we can see to the other side, we can see to a ruined portal, we can find a jungle, but also you can see that there's a plains biome here that I'm hoping, it's not that flat. Again, I love a good building area. This seed does not have one. It has a mountainous plains, a mountainous savanna, with particularly not that beautiful grass, but then it does make up for it by having this mangrove swamp over here, providing a rare tree type. In fact, actually, do the maths right here. With a savanna tree, a mangrove tree, birch, oak, and then jungle trees just at spawn, plus bamboo, you've got access to about half of the repertoire of wood just from things you can see from your spawn mountain, which is, it's nice in its own way, right? But in its own way. So if you do decide to cross the ocean on the way to your ruin portal, you'll actually notice there is a bunch of ocean ruins on the way there, which is already very cool in my opinion, but it gets better because if you do finish the journey, you'll find that there's some ocean ruins on land. These are rare and something that Jeb decided to keep against his better wisdom, but it basically means that you have immediate access to archaeology and the Nether. Let's be real, you already have access to Nether, because even if you don't decide to use this ruin portal, it's a 70% complete ruin portal with some flint, and in case it's somehow not enough for you, well, good news, they have a second one. So that is the ruin portal we were just at, and this is the ruin portal that we can head towards and be there in just a short boat journey. And again, I think it's a slightly less good one, to my personal preference, but it does contain some obsidian, some gold, and some things that will help you. And so this is a great seed for going to the Nether. It's a great seed for jungling. And if you like mountains, this seed probably isn't for you either. Anyway though, to return to spawn and give our summation of this world, I do not see a way that I would recommend this. I would say its best feature is probably the heavy collection of ocean structures that are right near spawn, but most people aren't seeking them. I'll be honest, I think the number of people who have ever sought a great ocean spawn that don't want an island is probably in the single digits, and so I would say its best feature is not one most people are after, and I'm going to call the seed charming because it does have a charming mountain here. You could climb it, you could have some fun at the top, and you get this beautiful ocean view, but it is just that. It is charming because it isn't that functional, and besides those trees and the ocean ruins, I don't think there's much here for you. I think this is going to be a 2.5 out of 10. You know, actually, no 0.5s. I'll round that up to a 3 for now, but maybe I'll lower its rating later. I think 3 out of 10 is where it has to sit, but even that feels too generous. This is a soft 3 out of 10. No, it's no partial ratings. In case you don't know, I'll actually be going through the entire alphabet today, and I know that that's not something that everyone knows, so I'll actually leave the alphabet in the description down below, but if you already know the alphabet, make sure to leave it in a comment. Make sure you don't copy and paste it from the description to leave in your comment. That would be cheating, but can you go through the entire alphabet? That's your challenge today. But CD is something that I've got to say... Oh, wait, actually, this is very CD. It is a very, very, very big mountain range that makes the previous one look kind of lame. Ultimately, this is a big mountain slope. No, I was wrong. I thought that was a geode, it's just a shadow. But up here you can see there's a bunch of coal, iron, emeralds even. All the sorts of ores that are usually very hard to find will be found right by your spawn, and even better, it's such a large savanna that you'll find there is no rain here anywhere. In fact, I'll prove that. Let's type weather rain, And notice how, even though it's meant to be raining, you might even see some in the sky over the river, there is no rain in all of the savannah, and so if you hate rain, this is the seed for you. Otherwise, though, you need to really like mountains, or mesas, actually. Okay, give credit, there is a mesa biome that awkwardly cuts off here. But yeah, this is a hot spawn, and so if you're looking for hot biomes in your local area, this might be a good one for you. I've been looking around everywhere to see if I can find some unique selling point of this seed, and ultimately, I guess this cave is kind of nice, and it's even better than nice. It has a trial chamber in here too. So ultimately, if you want a trial chamber that is wildly easy to access, and you don't mind some mountains, and you want there to be no rain, this seed could be for you. In fact, whoa, this cave goes on for a while. You might find other structures and other craziness in here too. So if you're looking for a great caving experience, and no rain, and some above ground caves in the form of mountains too, this could be for you. So I'm going to go ahead and say, this seed is Don't Play If You Don't Like Caves. That's its name. Its best feature is definitely a cave which has a trial chamber and a ruin portal at spawn. Far better than everything else, even combined. And I would say that my actual rating, though, it's gotta be like a 5 out of 10. It's a decent seed for those who want it, but I can't see myself ever being like, yeah, I'll load this one up. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe by the time I get to the end, I'll think it's the second best. I sure hope not, though. That brings us nicely onto the 5th letter, which is E, and I've got to say, my immediate first impression is, yeah, generic Minecraft spawn in a good way again. Kind of like A, this is a spawn that has a plains, but this time we've got an ocean to explore over the rest. Now, in theory, this could be worse, but I have the theory that this might actually be a survival island type situation. If it's not, then it's terrible and it's just a peninsula. But if this is an island, that could be something quite special. So let's find out, does this island end, or does it become a messy mainland and all of the benefits are gone, while all of the downsides of an island are here to stay? The answer is the second one. Okay, so what are the benefits of this seed? Well, immediately right off the bat, you could see that we have a plains biome. That's good. We have an ocean if we wanted to explore across it. That can be good. We've got this big cave. Okay, that's promising. What's down there, I hear you say? I'm guessing it goes nowhere. It doesn't. So we've got lava, a village, and a plains biome. Every time these villagers try to leave their house, they remember that there's water there, and they all stay trapped. Apparently there's quite the family that have built up inside there now, which is kind of funny. Anyway, so this is about as good as it gets for this seed. Do you want a village that is close by? You've got it. Do you want a lot of ocean that eventually takes you to some kelp, and then to a sandy, like, beach, and then to a jungle, but, like, after a really long while? This is good. Do you eventually, after some distance, want to find a shipwreck? Well, you could do it on this seed. Oh, isn't that incredible? Wait, you know, maybe if there's, like, enough chests that have, like, buried treasure, you could argue this is a good seed for that, maybe? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that even the very best parts of this seed are found elsewhere without all of the downsides. Like, there is buried treasure if you go through a lot of work and then go right here under the water. But is that actually worth it? Is a question you have to ask yourself. And I just do not think the answer is yes. It's a plains biome, but it's not very flat. It's a village, but it's mostly over water. It's a cave, but it doesn't lead anywhere. Every part of this world seed is something that wouldn't be amazing if it worked, but it's a worse version of something that does. And so I think the only thing that I can say this seed is best at is looking like an island if you set your render distance really low. And that's my favorite feature. The name for it is going to be Exceptional, brackets, ha ha ha, just kidding. And the rating for this seed is going to be a 2 out of 10, because there are worse seeds. But this is, you know, 1 out of 10 seeds are genuinely more interesting than 2 out of 10 seeds. I think 1 out of 10 anything is better than 2 out of 10 anything. This is the worst score you can get out of 10. And I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Wait, maybe this goes somewhere? No, it doesn't. It goes, I wanted to give it a chance, and I was foolish to do so. Speaking of being foolish, That's what you'd have to be to type in the letter F while not attempting to pay your respects. But is it a good Minecraft seed? Are we going to be, indeed, mourning the loss of good Minecraft seeds? Or is this going to bring back the proof that a single letter Minecraft seed can be something special? And the answer just off the bat is, maybe. You can see that we've got a forest spawn that then has a flower plains up here, the meadow. Then we've got a snowy taiga, which isn't my favorite, but I like it for the sake of diversity. Then we've got this, a giant iceberg biome. Iceberg biomes have all of the water removed, and this seed shows just how ridiculous that is, and how just wonky and backwards that actually is. But then if we look a little bit further over here, we'll find that there is in fact a floating shipwreck. So this is a really fun thing, and sadly, I want to recommend you use the seed just for the floating shipwreck, but this is actually it's not a seed issue. If you load up this seed 100 times, you might have it one of those times, but every shipwreck in your world has a small chance of just floating in the air, and in this case, I got lucky. Or unlucky if I was a survival player trying to get some rotten flesh. But yeah, there is a giant iceberg biome here that has no value because of Mojang, so I don't think this is a particularly great place. We do, though, eventually have this nice snowy village on a mountaintop, which is very, very cool in my opinion. I think having sheep in a snowy taiga is a rare thing, so have them be brought here by default, super, super nice. Having all of these other blocks and having just a nice little plateau to sit on is really cool, but most importantly, being able to be in a snowy taiga biome, while also then being able to access the rest of your world, to me is a big boon. I like small Minecraft biomes. I don't want to have to spend 8,000 years of my life crossing one, and this is a nice little collection of them. So to come back to Spawn for the final review, what do I think of everything that I've seen, and so have you? Ultimately, I'm going to have to say that it's really, really great for people who like those icy spawns, but its actual best feature is that it's icy worlds while still having the choice to see other stuff. Small biomes and icy is a nice combination, but so much iceberg, so much ocean, so much taiga, not enough variety, not enough building space. I think there are lots of downsides, and so I think that the name for this seed is going to have to be forget about it. I don't think that this is a seed that anyone watching this video is going to want to use unless you want to come here to pay your respects to the big floating ship. And so I'm going to have to give this a ranking of 3 out of 10. It's not actively terrible, it's just there's better seeds. I mean, there might be better seeds. They might all be ranked 3 out of 10 for all I know so far. I've got to say, the first impression of CG is not actually a terrible one today, because we spawn inside of a forest right next to a clearing that takes us to a plains biome. I know that I'm going to sound like a broken record by the time this video is done, but having flat land to build on is great. Having terrain is sometimes wonderful, but for your first few builds, you have something in your brain you want to build. You don't want to look at the terrain and look at that inspiration, and so having this is great, and having a little cave underneath it is even better. Does the cave lead anywhere? Well, let's find out. The answer seems to be yes. Or at least it does if you can breathe water. For us air-breathing mortals, there is a slight cap to how good it gets. Speaking of deeper flaws, there is so much plains found in this seed that the only complaint you could have is that it's all covered in sunflowers or pumpkins, which, by the way, did you know pumpkin patches are rarer than diamonds? But you've got 2 of them next to each other on this seed. You've also got a village, and it's even better than that. You've got a village which is in eyesight of a cherry grove biome, and that cherry grove biome is then in itself in eyesight of one of the more valuable structures, especially for early to mid game, a pillager outpost. You don't want to go in there when you don't have armor, and especially a shield, but if you do go in there, you can start a raid, which can make your village so much more valuable. You can also get a goat horn, which is sing, and who doesn't love that one? So yeah, do I love this seed enough to put a ring on it? I think I'm going to have to say, so far, it's definitely giving great vibes. I've gone in only one direction of the spawn, and so I'm going to deliberately kill myself, go back into creative, and then go deeper into the forest. I always look for the best opportunity, which is always found in the plains, but what happens if we go the other way? Because ultimately, when you pick a new Minecraft seed, you have to deal with this as well, and the answer is birch forest, lava, that's nice, and then dark forest. But do we have a pale forest? That would definitely be a strong selling point. Oh, it's only 1,500 blocks away. which is too far, I would have to say. But yeah, I think that this is not as terrible as it could have been, and it means that if you ever do just want to chop down a ludicrous number of trees, you don't have to start your own farm. You can just make a clearing right through here. Something I've got to say I love. I love when you can go down a cave next to something at spawn and then end up near diamonds. And you can do it on this seed, which is something I've got to say, absolute boon for it. Also love that. I think that this seed is, in short, good. You're going to find all of the biomes that you need near spawn. You're going to find all of those annoying, who knows when you're going to find it, but you hope you find it soon tasks near spawn. You're going to be able to have a really flat land for building. And I think that the only things it's missing are those sorts of 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000 long shots. But even then, it's only missing those right near spawn. And I'm sure that if you go a little bit deeper, you might find one of those. So don't feel so forlorn. I think that this is a good seed, and so I'm going to have to give it the rating of 8 out of 10. Having everything you need and having it be so flat between those things, with the only real not flat bits being trees and sunflowers, is such a big plus. And then having easy access diamonds is just a little bit of icing on the cake. So I like this G seed, but what do I hate? Well, let's find out with H. Or if you live in certain parts of the world, it's H. With the H part of, literally the H part of H, the H part of H is said silently in some dialects, which is kind of funny. H-I-J-K, H. You know, why would it be called H? Surely it would have to be H. You can't abbreviate away the letter. You know, you can't have the letter B become E. If we said B like E, we'd be insane. But you know who else would be insane? Okay, we're here, and immediately, do you see something interesting about it? Yes, I hope that you do. I have to say, I am amazed at exactly what's going on over here. It is a shipwreck right at spawn. Is it a good shipwreck, though? Because ultimately, I love the idea of structures near spawn, but if they account to nothing, if there is no value to the end player, then what is the point? And sadly, this is one of those. There is a pile of wood in the ocean near spawn, which, by the way, is surrounded by ocean. But is the hate justified? Let's certainly hope not. So over here you can see that there is a village. That's nice, at least to me. I like this. It's on a slight hill, but it's pretty chill. And then also you can see there's lots of plains everywhere around the rest of this, which is really, really solid too. You want to have some plains biome, and you particularly want to have flat plains biome, which is exactly what we have right here. But you'd also, you know, kind of ideally have a little bit of something else mixed in there. But indeed, this seems to be just one of the world's biggest survival islands. Unless over here, that changes. Well, hats off to this seed. You go 900 blocks of just plains, and then you eventually reach an iceberg biome, which is not what I was expecting at all. I feel like these two biomes rarely overlap. But just like that, that's it. This, and or you do find a second village, which is kind of cool. But you probably wouldn't need it too bad because you've got the first one. I would use it just as a place to go, kill the iron golem, take some extra hay bales, and having a ruin portal is nice. But also if you go this way long enough, you'll find this rather lovely mountain. Oh yeah, it's very high up there. I think that this is a nice little start, personally. If you want to see something kind of cool, these mountains just about pierce the clouds, which would be handy if I was in an igloo survival, but you can go straight down from those mountains that are at those cloud heights all the way down the cliffs, and then straight into a cave, meaning you can have this kind of like 200, 50 block drop straight into what appears to be a deep dark biome. Super, super cool. So this is a great seed if you're looking for not the structure that you're actually looking for. And if you want a treasure map really close to spawn, you've got it right here, I guess you could say. This seed's best feature is its flatter than flat flatlands, which give it the title of horizontal. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 for being a decent enough world. Again, if you're just looking for a nice flat horizontal piece of land, you'll do just great here. If the treasure map and the weird structures are a bonus to you, then great. But if you want to have some more fun than that, this seed isn't the one. But you know what might be? Well, I could tell you about it. It is indeed another forest spawn. Here you can see we've got some forest, we've got some water, we've got some iceberg, we've got some snowy plains, and beyond the snowy plains we get, oh Minecraft's rarest biome, the snowy spikes. There is absolutely no good reason to desire these, but they're rare enough that I think a lot of people do anyway. And, you know, to be fair, who can blame them? Isn't that nice looking in its own way? This is a very, very cold place. Honestly, it looks dark in here. I've never realized till now, because I've never gone into a snowy spikes with visuals on. It gets dark. It's like a pale forest or something. Have you ever realized that that's true? Because I've just gone into my first one today. That's how rare they are. It's true. So near the spawn, we also have a Snowy Plains village. These are nice. You know, it's got some igloo stuff going on. There's also a second village, which is kind of flat, in case flat-ish villages are important to you, but not so important. You need it to be all the way flat. But again, more igloos. There's also an igloo right by spawn that I missed because of the ice spikes biome. And to answer your big question, is it the really good type of igloo? Nope, there's no ladder down here. It's just a free crafting table, a free furnace, and a free batch of sadness when you realize that this seed ultimately is all about the ice spikes and the ice village, because it's not just a couple of ice villages and some igloos to connect them. It also is the fact that there is a stronghold below one of those. So if you want to have a weird Minecraft experience in one of Minecraft's strangest biomes, seriously, look at this. What sense does this make to anyone? Then this seed is your ice spike experience. And so, honestly, based on that, I don't think I can rate it too lowly, because it is well connected, it does have a close stronghold, it does have villages. I think this is a 6 out of 10. It's not for me, but it has the really nice quality of something you wouldn't expect from just 1 in 26 seeds. So, great job, village. By the way, before we go on to review Jay, I do need to point out that yes, I have a set of personal preferences for what I want in a seed. That is what we're showing off in this Seed Sunday, and if you want to ignore that and say, nah, Toycat, the Ice Spikes is a 10 out of 10 or a 0 out of 10, feel free to do that. The rating's just there to help you with what I think these generally represent, and I have to say, if I can go so crazy, that Jay is a seed that is a very, very wonderful one that kind of offers you a little sampling of everything. I think that this is a wonderful seed that is perfectly here for you. If you want lava, it's there. Do you want a forest? You spawn in it, but you rarely do outside of your first tree. But do you want a nice plains biome that's close to flat for building on? This is pretty decent. Do you want savanna? Just over there. Do you want ocean? Whole ton of it. And even better, if you want a jungle or a ruined portal, it's also right over here. You get lots of biome diversity at spawn, which is good, while still being the decent biomes, if such a thing can exist. You know, if you can say that diversity is really important, while also saying that you want some things over others, then this is a great seed that allows you to have that. But even better, if we go into this cave right at spawn, you can see that it also offers the delightful cave experience that everyone secretly wants. Either a quick dive to get really deep down in the deep slate layers, that can be wonderful by itself, or if you're just looking for a big underground experience, this seed offers it to you. Do you want your first opportunity to cover a cave in copper torches? This one will offer it to you, and wait, it goes even crazier than that. Oh, I thought it was lava. It's magma. Vibrant visuals tricked me. But there is, unlike that trick, some diamonds that are not glow lichens over here, and a whole cave that just continues to go on and on and on and on and on. And seriously, this is one of those ridiculous cave systems that people say they don't get frequently, but actually exist everywhere if you know where to find them. And on this seed, where to find them is directly next to spawn. What is not to love? This seed is just a perfect bit of everything, if I had to give it a name. Just a delightful sampling of everything, actually, might be more correct. I think that this seed's strongest element is its variety, therefore its weakest element is the lack of focus on any one element, but I would say that puts it, for the purpose of a seed you can lazily type in, I think that puts it at an 8.5 out of 10, which will round up to 9 for the sake of keeping everything round and out of 10. But yeah, lots of goodies to be found. What is there to hate when there's all these diamonds around? Let's go into the next seed, shall we? Which would be K. I don't even know what words start with a K. Oh, wow, and it gets even better. Yeah, it's earned that 9 out of 10 for having this randomly hanging out in here too, by the way. Okay, initial thoughts is that there is a lot of savanna around me, followed up immediately by the fact that, oh, and it's savanna that goes into kind of old school mountains. You can see that these mountains go barely above Y20, kind of like old extreme hills, and then right after that I started looking around and I found this, an old school ravine. These didn't exist in Bedrock for a long time, and even now they're far rarer than they used to be, so we've got all these sort of old elements combined. Sure, you find new things like armadillos mixed in there, but you will see that there's a ton of savanna in this kind of mid-rise format, making this a wonderful for classique players. Look, there's not... words starting with K in the English language aren't that common. And honestly, do we need the letter K to begin with? In school, they had to teach me it was curly K and kicking K. And do we need to have two variants of the same letter? I would debate that, but I wouldn't debate that this seed is solid, and again, it's the same three biomes that I think are really, really good ones to start with, but I think in a really different orientation that makes it slightly worse than the last seed for me, not to mention the lack of actual deep underground caves that I love, but if you're looking for a more classic experience, this might be perfect for you, and yeah, the ravines just keep on coming, and so, oh, this is actually a carver, this isn't a ravine, but still, it is worth mentioning that this is a solid pick, especially if you're looking for that kind of old school green Minecraft grass, because instead of having to chop down an entire jungle biome, you can just burn a few trees, and you'll have a surprising amount of green land to work with. What's not to love? So yeah, this seed's best feature is the fact that there are no mountains, just old school mountains, and a lot of old school ravines too, and I'm gonna have to give this seed an 8 out of 10. It's really solid for what it is, and I think that that is something a decent number of players will crave, but it's missing the structures, the caves, and the delightful other bits that make me really desire it. But it does have a village not that far from spawn, which is nice. Okay, so I've got to say, I was expecting this seed to take an L, but after a very brief look around, you can see that there is a ravine right next to spawn. I'm hoping we find them on every other seed now and I look silly, just so that there's more ravines in the world for people to enjoy, but I also wait. There's going to be some gravel floating above nothing. Oh, this is my favorite thing. Yeah, that's an OG Minecraft experience right there. But the rest of the seed certainly is not. This is a very new mountain with a giant meadow leading up to it. You can see just how ridiculously sloped it is. I think that this is perfect for putting your own build on top of, because it'd be very hard to naturally sculpt all of this. And so having a delightful set of mountains might be something that you're really enticed by. If not, then the ruined portal and the lava pit might help. But yeah, as far as what you get at the spawn, a forest with a couple of mountains nearby, I hope that that's not it. Oh, and my hopes are not in vain, because there is another ravine. But yeah, I think ultimately, this is a cool cross of different biomes. And if these are for you, then what a wonderful choice. But if you really like taiga and mountains, a little bit of stony beach, and then the meadows, then, you know, you might need to admit that you're a bit of a loser. I'm just kidding. I think that this seed is a loose definition of good, and so I'm going to give it the loose title. Oh, look at this, actually. Whoa, yeah. This seed is just here to appreciate the terrain and in creative. I have no idea why or how you would want to use this seed in survival, but this is still valuable for placing things on top of. It is weird terrain, and so I'd hate to give it anything too low, but it's a 4 out of 10 for me. I don't like it, but maybe you're falling in love right now, in which case, type in the letter L. Yeah, I think that this seed's key feature is its weirdness. I think I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I think 4 might be a bit too stingy, because you're going to have a weird time playing the seed, and given how lazy it is, that is actually perfect. Sometimes you just want a bit weird, and L is the situation for that. Did you know all of these seeds are actually sequential? So they're the seeds 10, or I think it starts at like 98, all the way through like 124, because Minecraft just takes your seed and converts it into numbers. Now you know. You also hopefully know that the German alphabet has more letters than the English one, and that they pronounce Y stupidly. Anyway, with that said, this is M. And I am absolutely not sure what I should expect from this, but I'm getting pretty good results. It's a spawn in this kind of old-looking extreme hills that goes right into a village. That's kind of nice, I guess. Then we look back the other way, and what do we find? That's right, it's another village over there too. I mean, to give credit to this village, it is a very cool one, being located on this, like, hill that looks like it was perfectly made for the village. And even cooler, some of the villages in a savanna biome, so these pigs spawned as orange, and so did this villager. And so is this a good seed? Honestly, it's a fun one. I like that if we look further out in any direction, it does look traversable, whether you want to go over hills, through a forest, or anything else. I'm not necessarily inspired. I've heard a fun fact, though, which is that people will often give worse, judges will give worse sentences in the run-up to their lunchtime. If a judge is hungry, basically, they'll give harsher sentences. And so I want to test this myself by seeing if I'm just harsh because it's 1 p.m. and I haven't had lunch. So I'm going to go off, and I'm going to have some lunch. I think 5 out of 10 feels generous right now. But maybe I'll come back and I'll be like, whoa, this is the best seed ever. It's a 12 out of 10. Give it the award. So let's find out. The following Thursday. Okay, I am back and I am rejuvenated after a delicious lunch. Some chicken Kievs, if you're curious. But yeah, now I am here. I got it in the M&S for £12, the best meal deal. If you're curious. So I've got some Scotch eggs that claim to have some runny yolk. It's going to be some good times eating from my fridge this week. Anyway, the interesting thing about this seed is that after coming back to it, I still don't think the seed is, like, incredible. I think it's great for all the mini mountains, some of which have villages. I think it's really interesting terrain. But the best I can say is that this seed is mini mountain mayhem. The best feature is the relative averageness of everything, but with that little extra Y component. Like, isn't it nice just to have these everywhere? They're relatively destroyable if you want to, or expandable if you want to. And so this is Mini Mountain Mayhem, and I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, and you can thank Marks & Spencer's Chicken Kiev for that. Don't look up the price if you buy it outside the meal deal. Although, you know, let's be honest, if we're having a discussion about meal deals, when things are offered as, like, you know, buy one, get one free, you know that means they cost more individually. It's not the store actually saying, yeah, we think that we're just so generous, we're going to give you one to take home. They're still making money on it, and so I don't think they're actually worth £10. I think they are priced knowing you get free items for £12. But anyway, speaking of free items for £12, let's move on to the next seed. Okay, now it is time for the Seed N. I've not too much to say about it because I have nothing to see besides jungle. Because that is what surrounds me entirely, and it's actually kind of cool in its own little way that you can have a spawn that is exclusively jungle, but is it a deep jungle, or is it the sort of jungle that you could easily get out of, or indeed the sort of jungle that has a temple? Let's go and find out today. So the first strong point I see is this sparse edge jungle. I really like these because you can chop down the trees, make a great place for a base with this wonderful beta grass. It's also got some lava, which is a wonderful second addition. But as you can see, despite having so much jungle surrounding me, I don't immediately spot a jungle temple. Soon after... But, as it turns out, looks can be deceiving, and there's a jungle temple hidden right over here. This is one of Minecraft's rarest structures, and getting your hands on the trims that are found in here can be a real pain, so when you get a seed that does not have them, when you get a seed that does have them, it's really, really wonderful. What a big bonus this is, and ultimately, that means that already we're at a decent start to a world spawn, because if you just want jungle, with a lot of bamboo, a lot of tool jungle, and a lot of jungle edge, this seed seems to satisfy that. But what else does it have? The answer is a pillager outpost, an incredibly shallow ocean, oh, and a zombie village that's not that far from spawn. Oh yeah, this is very cool, very rare, and ultimately, some would argue not that valuable. You lose two of the best benefits of having a village, which is the villagers and the iron golem, but it's hard not to think that this is a really cool structure, and it's also possible there's a stronghold below this one, but oh, it turns out the nearest stronghold is 3,338 blocks away. So you won't be going to the end easily on this seed, but if you want a unique experience, then this seed is not your average. I would argue this seed is nothing but jungle, but then you can get out of it in just a few hundred blocks. So I think actually, yes, if I'm going to give a review to the seed N, I'm going to have to say it's not your average Minecraft seed, and its biggest strength is the ridiculously sized jungle that's around you at spawn. This is great if you want people joining your world to have a terrible experience, which genuinely sounds like sarcasm, but you know, that is a real thing people want. And as an overall rating, I'm going to give this seed a 7 out of 10. I could really see myself wanting to use this, and it's easier than having to go through the seed selector and selecting, jungle ahead or whatever. And so I'm going to therefore say this is great. Let me show you, by the way, just the effort that goes into this. You have to create new world. Then you have to go to advanced, then templates, then you'd have to go and find either bamboo forest or epic jungle, but instead of doing either of those things, just type in N. After N comes M and N O P O, I think you'll find, and so let's see what O has to offer. I'm hoping it's this. Oh! Wait, that's the seed! It's making me say the letter! Wow! Yeah, big wow here. This is, I think the Pale Garden spawn that you can get from the seed selector is not actually in a Pale Garden, and this is. This is an insane spawn, especially with vibrant visuals where it looks like we've spawned into nighttime. This is cool. This is really, really cool. It's enough Pale Garden that you know there's going to be some creakings around here too. In fact, let's find out for sure. Let's switch our game mode to survival. Oh, it's daytime. Let's switch our game mode to survival and our time to night. And let's show you how this seed starts a ticking timer to get absolutely murdered by a creaking. Because there's one over there. But because it's a big enough biome, I guarantee it's not the only one. Super, super, super cool thing. And yeah, you can get out of it if you go in the right direction relatively easily. But still, just to have this be there so easily is something I think is incredible. Oh yeah, this is definitely a biome that benefited from the, I think it was the spring drop maybe? The Spring to Life update that made it so that Pale Gardens would be bigger. This is a big Pale Garden compared to what used to generate, and so if you've never experienced one of these, it's pretty great. What I also love, I think there's something you can do with this if you're looking to build a house. You can take advantage of these kind of microbiomes that we have over here. I'm sure that if we find just the right spot, you can have a suspiciously dark home. You could also do the same over here. You know how we talk about destroying the trees in a jungle biome to make sure that you have something weird going on? You could do the same here. If you destroy all the trees, then you just get this dark area of your world. And I love that as a concept. Anyway, speaking of things I love as a concept, this seed also has a ruined portal and a birch forest. So you get pale oak, birch wood, and dark oak. That's a rare triple right there. And, well, I guess, you know, the dark oak and the pale oak definitely aren't rare together. But what is rare is having a ruined portal this close by with, multiple gold enchanted plus plates, also a golden apple. And then, even better, there is a regular plains over here. So if you want to just enjoy your Pale Garden from a distance, you can do that too. Yeah, it seems as though, from what I've seen, there isn't much else going on here. So I don't think I can give this seed too high of a rating. I think that's going to make it a 6 out of 10, with the main feature being the Pale Garden at spawn. And I think we're going to use the first words I said, which were, "Oh," as our world title for this one. Because I think that's the best way to describe this. Such a unique spawn. Now, logically speaking, right? Hear me out. If the other seed was :O, this seed should be :P. That used to be my favorite emoji back in the MSN days. I would always be using it, and I don't think anyone uses the tongue sticking out, you know, like emoticon. Or I guess I used to use the emoticon, now it's called an emoji. But like it's a shame, no one uses it anymore, even though it can signify I am being playful. But I guess being playful is overrated. Speaking of being overrated, I'm going to turn on my coordinates, because you need to be able to know where to get things. Pro tip, if you want coordinates, they're right over here. And they allow you to see where exactly you can go to get this exact same seed, or this exact same place on the seed P. Oh yeah, this place sure is perfect. It's not really, actually. Like, it goes up to Y159. It's not even that high. There's not even emeralds up here. That's how you know we haven't gone high enough. Look at this entire mountain and tell me how many emeralds you see. So, yeah, this is a great seed if you wanted a small mountain near spawn. And it's also great if you wanted a plains biome that wasn't flat enough to build on. It does have a village, and it does have a big cave near that village. Ooh, This could be a really, really big cave, actually. Oh, yeah, it keeps going. It keeps going. It goes and it goes and it goes and it goes as it goes straight into an ancient city. Oh, no. Just the deep dark. It looks very cool, though. Yeah, would you like all the danger and all the downside of an ancient city with none of the upside? Well, this seed has got you covered because the deep dark biome exists. It also is covered in diamonds, for what it's worth. Here's 2 you can find right over here. Very, very handy. I believe I saw 2 at the top here, interestingly. So you can get a bunch of diamonds, which is wonderful. It's in a deep dark biome, which isn't ideal. Oh, so here's diamond number 5. Peek back over here. Are we going to find diamond number 6? Oh, but then we head over here, and it's more deep dark with no benefit besides diamonds. I like that there's a dripstone cave in here, though. Oh, I like even more that there's a zombie spawner peeking out of the corner. It's a spider spawner. It's got this weird bedrock chest problem, which I've got to say is strange, but it's there. What is an emerald doing down here at Y59? Anyway, so it seems as though there's a pretty decent cave, I guess you could say. I think it's a little bit further from spawn than you'd love, but it's close to this village, which is nice. Being able to go from the cave to the village to the cave to the village is a wonderful pairing. And indeed, this village is also nice because it's on a hillside. But yeah, this seed honestly just does it. It whelms me. And so I would say this is a pretty average seed. The benefit is that you know you're not going to be getting an OP seed. And if the thing you want most from typing in a Minecraft seed is a bit of variety, but nothing actually being too nuts, besides maybe some diamonds, I would say this is the seed for you, which makes it, I think, if it's going to be average, a 5 out of 10. Would recommend to anyone who loves averageness. Next up is the letter Q. It's something I've heard British people are particularly good at, and indeed, you won't have to queue for very long to appreciate that we have an iceberg biome, and as you can tell, it looks absolutely delightful. There are absolutely no issues with any of the icebergs here. No siree. And also, it's really good for riding boats around and having spears on, because as you can see, it's so unbroken and perfect. It's just an endless sheet of ice, which is perfect for, say, throwing spears into each other. Is this a good seed? My first initial thought is no, because I don't love the icebergs anymore. But there is something that is notable. In exchange for the... Oh, so actually, quickly, let's look at this and say there is a village. It's nice. If you don't like chopping down trees, this is perfect, by the way. You always find spruce logs in these chests. And so I kind of like that as an alternative to the standard chopper Minecraft tree meta. But also, it's worth mentioning that there are giant icebergs now. So if you like the idea of giant icebergs that are not surrounded by ice, this is the seed for you. I will actually say that even though I want to trash it just because I don't like the iceberg biome, if I'm being more objective about this world spawn, having a village be pretty close, having a... Wait, what is that? A ruined portal, and indeed having a... what is technically a new biome for Minecraft Bedrock, because they've refurbished it so much, this might be appealing to the right type of player, but like in a very limited niche way. And so this is a 3 out of 10. The best part of the world spawn is the village, I guess. And the world name I'm going to give it is quaint. It's quaint compared to icebergs you could have if you generated them before this update. Also, these icebergs really do go up to ridiculous heights now. I did not appreciate just how crazy that was. But yeah, very quaint seed. Really, it does have to be said that this next seed is exactly what I was saying I wanted more of. This is a spawn in a jungle edge biome, a jungle edge that seemingly goes on forever. And so this would be the perfect place to build your base. This would be the best seed I've shown off so far by my favorite metric, if it weren't all critically going uphill. The uphill means you need to do a lot of flattening, which takes away some of the joy. But then we look over here and what do we find? It not only gets flatter, much easier to flatten down and turn into your base, but also there's a village right next to it. This is such a killer. Oh, and it's got a blacksmith too. What a killer combo. What freebies do you get just for using the seed? The answer is 10 obsidian, 7 iron, 3 gold, and an iron sword. So you get the perfect long-term opportunity in this jungle edge. You get the perfect mid-term opportunity in the village that you can shape to your desires. And then you get the perfect early game start because you can just go to the nether and make a bucket, and like, in fact, let me just show you why the seed is so good by showing you it in survival. Okay, I've loaded up the world on hardcore Minecraft, and now we are just deciding whether this is an 8 to a 10 out of 10. I think that the big difference being made here is going to come... Oh, by the way, we don't even need to chop down trees because we're going to get so much iron. But I think the big difference being made in this seed is going to come solely from how good that nether spawn is. If we get straight into a really good nether, then we found the perfect one-letter seed. We might as well not look at the rest of the alphabet. If the nether is mixed, or even worse, bad, then okay, it was nice to see this. But let's find out for sure. We are already at the village, less than a minute after spawning. And again, if you don't want to chop down the wood there, you don't need to. There's some in this village too. We now have enough obsidian to make a portal, enough iron to make a bucket to light it, and even some gold in case you feel like making... Okay, you know, not quite a helmet, but if you want to make 3/4 of a pair of boots, then you could do that too. So let's now make ourselves one of these. Let's make ourselves a bucket, shall we? Because once we have that... Oh, also we could make ourselves a shield, so we can even be protected as we go to the nether with not just our sword, but a full bunch of stuff. Now we just have to put our portal down. I'll put it in this little area here. It feels so perfect for making a portal, right? So blocks go here, and then blocks go over here. And then also, if you'll believe it, blocks are going to have to go over here too. And after we make ourselves... Oh, no, no, no! Imagine I didn't place that block there. Or in fact, you don't need to imagine. We've got so much here that we can make a mistake and be entirely fine. So now we just have to place this block up and over here. So just there. And there we go. Look at that. We made a portal incorrectly, and it's still going to work out just fine. In fact, even better than just fine, because now that is going to lead to our portal being lit from over here, I assume. If it's not lit from over there, then we'll place some blocks above it. Hope that some of those catch fire. And in the meantime, we could pick up some food if we wanted to. We could equip our shield. I think 4 beetroot should be enough for a trip to the nether, personally. And as you can see, the lava from the fire from this has lit the portal on fire. Life is good, and we are going to the nether despite making a giant mistake. How is the nether? You know, I'm sure the nether is glad for you to ask that. It's a nether waste biome, which isn't always perfect. It does have ghasts. Don't know if you can see those. But then it's immediately got right next to it one of these crimson forests that is such a boon. We've got red and brown mushrooms if you need some food, and obviously this biome then contains the hoglins themselves. This is a great nether spawn. This is the perfect starter Minecraft seed. I'm not going to look any further into it because everything I need to know, for me personally, has been set. What is the benefit of this Minecraft seed? It is the best single letter seed if you want great early, mid, and late game benefits. And what more can you ask for? The answer is hopefully not too much, because this is a really good seed. 10 out of... I think the best feature... weirdly enough, it's not the blacksmith. That's incredible. But once you go to the nether, it doesn't matter that you got there for free. But what will matter forever is your jungle edge grass. And so I would say, absolutely perfectly, that this is a 10 out of 10 seed. If there is one, this is it. I just hope we don't find a better seed. Okay, so Seed S immediately gave me vibes that we've had a few times today, and so I've tried for a good few minutes now to look around and give this seed a decent spin. Because ultimately, if you want a jungle, you'd use a different seed, and if you wanted an edge jungle, you'd use the seed we just had. And so what is the value of Seed S? Well, there's a couple of things it has that other seeds don't. One of them is that there is a reasonably sized jungle that then has more than one temple. So 2 jungle temples might have some value to you. Easy trims, that's for sure. And then also, once you leave the jungle, you find yourself a mangrove swamp and then a regular swamp. It's a small mangrove swamp, it's a small regular swamp. That could be valuable to the right player. Again, maybe you love this kind of dark aesthetic that you get here. Maybe you like the idea of destroying an entire biome, and so the small biome is a place to start. I don't really know, and so I'm going to call this the Swampy Jungle Seed, and I think that it's got some benefits, but I can't see rating it above a 4 out of 10. Sadly, Swampy Temples. Also, there's a big cave here, but it's not that big of a cave. It doesn't go as deep as other stuff, but like, kind of, you know, enticing, right? You could follow it all the way down to almost Diamond Lair. Yeah, there's just not a lot here for anyone. T is a terrific seed because it spawns you at the top of a mountain with a cherry grove view nearby. Oh, sorry, did I say the top of the mountain? I actually mean at the foot of a mountain, which in my opinion is one of the worst places to spawn. Again, if we could just spawn slightly higher up, life would be better, but we do get this wonderful lake. It's actually a river that just gets very wide. This is cool if you're going to build a civilization. Most big European cities are built on rivers that aren't tiny, but are very large, so having one of these allows you to make grand-scale rivers. Having a cherry blossom is always good, and having a lot of relatively green grass is nice. There's even a village. Ooh, actually, just over here. Oh, and there's a blacksmith there too. Ultimately, my take on this seed is that this is a really cool environment for the sort of player who isn't going to be playing survival. And so even though I could rank this very highly, I think for some player it's going to be perfect. If you're looking for a creative world, maybe that's great. But on this channel, I don't think many people come to Seed Sunday expecting to see the perfect creative seed. And yeah, if you were looking for a perfect survival seed, I could say there's this wonderful flat area here that's on the side of a mountain on one side, next to this giant river on the other. And is that good for you? You'll have to decide for yourself, because the best feature on this seed is the quality of the terrain in a beauty sense, not in a workability sense. If you don't like the idea of doing too much building, or you like the idea of doing a ludicrous amount of building, this could be perfect. But as far as the name of the seed, I'm going to have to say it's totally... it's too much work, maybe even is a better word for this, and I think this is going to have to be a 3 out of 10 for the survival player, but for creative players, hit it up. You might have a great time. There's even a little cave that doesn't take you anywhere. Yeah, this is a total waste of time, sadly. You are not going to believe this one. We have another iceberg spawn. I'm honestly starting to question whether I typed it in wrong. But this time, instead of just being all icebergs all the time, we've got a river behind us, so you can kind of get that old experience. Back in the day, and by day I mean literally any time in Minecraft's history between 2017 and a month ago, you used to be able to go across iceberg biomes like this, and now you can still do it just for this specific biome right here. Is it a good time? Yeah. Are there any things that you can find? Firefly bushes, that's interesting. And some sugarcane, and a ravine. Wait, actually, one second. I've never actually seen this before. I've never seen the ability to ride a boat into a ravine on ice. Oh, okay, it cuts off after a while. So, yeah, what does this seed have for you? Lots and lots and lots of ice. But I'm sensing a repeat. I'll look around to see if anything makes it not one. Okay, it does at least have a village. And then there's a plains biome not that far away that has crashed my Minecraft. So, yeah, not that high of a praise, really. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say that having the exit be not that far away is a plus. Is it enough of a plus to make the seed the best? No. The best way to sell this seed would be to say that it has a large amount of ice to ride a boat on, enough to do a full track on, which is really fun. Ice boating straight from spawn is very fun, and ultimately I'm going to say, if you come in expecting ice boating, then your expectations will be met, which is the name we're going to give this seed, and I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I think this is a great seed for that, but yeah, 5 out of 10 is as high as I feel is warranted, and a part of me feels like that might be too high. But maybe I just need another chicken Kiev, right? You know, who's to say? Next up, we have Seed V, and let me just say, it's very sandy, because immediately there is just so much sand, and it's kind of different to most deserts because we have a little bit of a hill right here at spawn, which does block some of our view. So one of my favorite things about deserts used to be that they were the best places to hunt for Endermen, but nowadays that people aren't doing this, this is instead a good place to maybe refurbish or renovate and have a biome that would have no rain whatsoever in it. You can also get some cactus and some cactus greens, and also you get this very nice orange Breaking Bad kind of vibe. Some people love it, some people hate it, but yeah, otherwise this is the sandiest seed we have gone through, and as a result you're going to find not just desert temples. Oh, there's 3 of these, by the way. You're not just going to find desert temples, but also you'll find a mesa and deserty caves, and if we're lucky, maybe even a surface mineshaft. In fact, I'll just assume there's a surface mineshaft. I'm 99% sure. No. I'm gonna stop seeing this. But I assumed incorrectly. There's lots of things that look like they might be surface mine shafts, but you won't be finding any over here. And so, this is a very interesting seed for people who like their sand. Indeed, you get it in 2 colors, and you even get a nice ruin portal, very close to complete, with some iron to help you out on that, I guess. But overall, what am I going to say about this seed? Well, its best feature is the copious number of desert temples. I am not kidding when I say there's multiple around spawn. And I guess it's an interesting desert if you're an old school player, but given how niche those 2 things are, I think desert temples are incredible. Most people would rather just have a decent spawn with trees. I think that having a unique seed like this is great, but it's only unique if you've been playing for a long time pre-Caves and Cliffs, which doesn't describe the majority of the Minecraft player base anymore. And so as a result, I'm going to say this is very sandy and not very good on unique selling points, so I'm going to have to say that it's simply a 4 out of 10. It's, you know, it's good if you wanted a lot of sand. So, W is one of my least favorite letters in the alphabet, because if you really look at it, shouldn't it be 2 V's? It should be double V, right? Not W. W would look like this, but instead we got something that looks far more like this. But in either case, if you type in W, do you get a seed that is an absolute W? No, it's a bunch of forest that eventually can lead you to a plains biome over here. This is solid. This is fine. It's a very small plains biome and it's not very flat. And then it's more forest on the other side. If you go this way, it'll lead you into a taiga biome, which is good. Spruce trees are wonderful. And birch forests and dark forests are too. Okay, there's quite a few logs coming up now. This is decent. 4 types of tree. Maybe even a 5th if we find a pale garden in here. But as far as the overall quality of this seed, it's a forest lover's dream. And what about everyone else? No, I'm not seeing a single other characteristic that makes this notable. Maybe a big cave in the middle of this is cool. I mean, surely there's something positive I can say about this seed. Oh, there's a lava pit there. That's good. We're not that close to spawn, and it's not easy to see. So even if you have the coordinates, you might struggle with that. So otherwise, though, there's lots of trees. You know, if you were building a house that needed like 10,000 log blocks and you didn't want to make a farm, you could chop all of this down and then you'd have your 10,000 log blocks from 4 different types of forest. This is a windswept gravelly hill biome and it's great for gravel lovers. Yeah, I think this is it. This is the worst seed. Oh, the W. So what is the biggest selling point of W? If you want a seed that doesn't offer you any help at all, if you think that a seed being good is cheating, and you specifically want a seed that isn't good anywhere near spawn, this is the seed for you. And it's W because it's the worst. A W is meant to mean a win, but this is a was. This is an absolute was, I've got to say. Not a big fan, 1 out of 10. It's non-redeemable, right? There's no reason you would ever load this up. No one ever desires anything that this seed has in the quantity that it has. And so I guess leaf litter is what would bring it up to a 1.5 if you love that. So yeah, not my favorite seed, but what about X? Hello, I be X Toycat, which if you don't know means I used to be Toycat. I do be that way, but I'm not anymore. And so did this seed used to be good, or has it ever been? Oh no, it's somehow exactly like the last one, except unlike the last one, instead of being a giant forest of nothing in sight, there's this beautiful plains with a water-filled ravine, and then an even bigger plains on the other side of the river, which is perfect for settling down on. I also will have to note, having a village, great. Having a village with a blacksmith chest, even greater. Having a village with 2 blacksmith chests, that's a bunch of freebies. I do have to say that back in the console edition days, this used to be the coolest thing. Going in and finding like multiple chests with goodies in there. And although this isn't the best freebies we've seen in a chest, it's a really, really nice bonus to help you start your life on this plains and live a classic Minecraft world. It does really have a beautiful amount of plains biome. And again, the relative flatness is something that is quite desirable for many people. Having a big cave in the middle of that. Oh, look how deep it goes. Oh, and unlike the last seed, unlike V, which was should have had an exposed mineshaft, this seed has no right having one, but you can jump right in. This is such a classic Minecraft feeling to me. Admittedly, it's because I think my very first ever Java playthrough, I did it live on this channel, fun fact, but my first ever Java playthrough, I found a mineshaft just kind of hanging out in a cave. Finding one like this is so cool, and then the fact that the cave just keeps going down right the way to the bottom of the world makes this super, super cool. It's a bit of a throwback mixed with how new caves work, and it's like an ultimate ravine improvement. And so I would say this seed is great for that kind of, that X lifestyle, if you will. The lifestyle we used to have in Minecraft before all these complicated biomes came around. And so if you want some simplicity, this seed might be great for you. Yeah, I think extremely basic is the way to put this, but in a way I find to be charming. So yeah, its best feature is the fact that it's very much old biomes near spawn. That's the type of person who wants that. And the name is going to be extremely basic, and the rating is going to be 7 out of 10. If you think that's too high, we can blame the chicken Kiev. But it was delicious. Actually, it wasn't. It came with a bone in. I've never had bone in chicken Kiev before. I don't know who wants to put bones inside of foods that don't deserve bones in. But speaking of getting boned, why do we need to move on to the next letter? Great question. I immediately saw this seed and knew that I couldn't start negatively. And so I've spent 5 minutes looking around, trying to find any reason that this seed would be great. And my best explanation for why you should use this seed is because you could get in a boat and sail away and then leave your spawn far behind. Because if you try to follow land, as is the easiest thing to do in a Minecraft world, you'll hit a spruce, you hit a tiger biome and that's nice. You'll hit a birch forest and that's nice. All 3 of the original Minecraft woods here. You'll go past a cave, and then the woods just keep on continuing. It's fine, it's not the worst version of this, but given that it's also a peninsula, it just feels like this would, my genuine response is, why would anyone use this seed? The ocean isn't even a great ocean in its own right. It's not filled with monuments or anything. And so, genuinely, this is a situation of why would anyone use this seed? And I cannot come up with a good answer. Even that it's leaf litter lovers and people who like Minecraft woods, but only the first 3, and also want their seed to be covered in those things. So instead, get on the boat, and you'll eventually find, after a long there will be a small little island with some more tiger on it. Oh yes, exactly what I needed, Minecraft. How could you tell? And so genuinely, what's the best part of this seed? The fact that there's an ocean, and that ocean can take you to more forests. What is the name of this seed? Why would you even use it? What is my rating for this seed? It's a 1 out of 10. I mean, does a 1 to 10 scale go down to 0? If it does, I think this is a serious contender for a 0. But, obviously it has that ruined portal near spawn, and only a couple thousand blocks away from spawn, you get this, and isn't this nice? Is it meant to be made from stone bricks, by the way? In my mind, it's not, but maybe I just haven't been to one recently. But yeah, you can find a fishing rod with an enchantment in a chest, plus 2 stone axes. So it's a 1 out of 10. It's earned that 1 point, I would say. Okay, we've done it. We've reached the final seed in the alphabet. 26 seeds is actually a decent number to go through and actually hand look at and try to find the best bits from, but this last seed does make it a bit easy because you spawn on the border of 4 biomes, which is always cool. If you like a forest, well, we've got other seeds for you, but we've got a birch forest, then we've got a swamp, and then we've got an ocean. It's not just any ocean either, because you can go across this ocean and find that there will be some islands over here. That's kind of nice by itself, but it gets even better than that, because unlike the previous seed, where you could follow the oceans for some time, let's say, on this seed, you follow it just a little bit this way, and you'll find yourself a survival island spawn. I'm just kidding, that's not what I was looking for. It is very nice that this is here, as a little point to remind you you're heading in the right direction, because from here, with a decent render distance, or from just past here if you don't have one, you should find that this seed has an ocean monument, and it's an ocean monument, the most dangerous part of the ocean, next to the safest part of the ocean. There is a mushroom biome here without any land. Whoa, this is strange. Look, the whole world goes purple just for a little bit. So if you ever wanted to find a mushroom biome, but you don't like the fact that there's mycelium there, this is the perfect place to make a base. Although you could probably get a similar thing by just destroying an existing mushroom biome. It is kind of cool that this one would be starting from scratch, so that's something, I guess. Otherwise, though, this seed does offer a nice variety of biomes that spawn, but it really is like if you wanted a decent ocean, then you wouldn't use the last seed, and you probably wouldn't use this seed either, but you might get some value from just how many biomes are close together at spawn. It's a little bit of that Legacy Console Edition feel. Lack of mountains maybe help with that too. And yeah, you're never that far away from a village. But overall, what is my review of seed number Z? I would love to be able to say that this is the best one, and that, it's solid seeds from A to Z. But honestly, I don't know who I would recommend this seed to. What is its best feature? It's ocean. What is its worst feature? Lots of the rest. But it has tiny biomes and it has a decent ocean. And so overall, I'm going to give this seed a 3 out of 10. Yeah, a 3 feels fair. And we're going to call it... I'm going to look at a thesaurus real quick. Or a dictionary. Word starting with Z. Zesty. It's not very zesty, is it? Zilch. Yeah, we're going to call this seed Zilch. It is it has not that much to offer, and a lot of darkness too. If that's your thing, this seed will be perfect for you. But I assume it's not your thing. I'm just going to make that crazy guess. And so that brings us to the end of a very long, but very fruitful recording session. But I do have to say, you know what? I realized after being done and having that big relief that actually the letter K I did not go through the correct seed for, because I typed K in the world name but not in the world seed. Now, I really seriously considered just saying, 25 seeds is still a lot to go through. It makes a perfect 5x5 grid, but I realized I was just using this as an excuse to be lazy, and so I'm making a brand new world seed with K, just in case it's the best of all, because if you're going to do something, no matter how strange it may seem, like going through every letter of the alphabet, it's important to do it right. And so here is the seed K. As you can see, very different to what we said before. Previously, I called it classic. This seed is not classic at all. This seed is far from classic. The seed that I had, by pure random chance, was much more classic than this one. It does have this lovely jungle edge, and it does have a big enough jungle that I'm sure I'm going to find a jungle temple, but it is on the water's edge, and it is quite a dense, thick jungle. And so, we'll keep the original name, but the actual best thing about this seed is lots and lots of jungle. And my new rating for this seed, having seen that there is a jungle temple, and there is this wonderful desert right behind it, which is a very useful biome to have, I think we're going to bring it down to a 6 out of 10. Because I don't think that this is a highly must-recommend situation. Oh, actually, although a desert temple and a mangrove, I'll bring it up to a 7. Screw it. But we'll call it classic. Just as a throwback. Because why not, right? Or, K for can't remember to type in letters. When I'm literally talking about how easy it is in a video, I managed to make a mistake. But, yeah, with that said, it's now time for the review and conclusion. Okay, that was a ludicrously long seed review, but the time has come for me to tell you exactly what it is that you can take from this video. And first of all, I'll throw all of the results on screen right here. So if you just want to take the simple how good is a seed ranking and use one frame from this video, this should be it. However, now I think it's worth giving a bit of a qualitative judgment to go above a quantitative one, because I think that although it is worth saying that I've given lots of these seeds decent rankings, the ones I would personally be excited to use most again would probably be, in third place, J, for just a bit of everything. I like this idea of spawning and being able to go to different biomes very, very quickly, especially when these different biomes have some classic Minecraft features. I like this one quite a bit, but weirdly and controversially, I think the second seed I would be most likely to come back to would actually be this seed right here, also known as I. And what I love to say is the fact that I talk about myself so much that clearly that's why I love this. But more seriously, I would have to say that this is a really decent seed for having an an ice spikes biome this close to spawn, and then also having one of these newer style iceberg biomes. Personally, this isn't always my cup of tea, but it isn't something I can get from a seed picker, and being able to, say, make a base in the ice spikes biome is a fun choice that I will have access to by knowing this seed exists. And so even though I think this is bad for most situations, I think it's unique enough for the ones that it is in that genuinely I might use it for that alone. But the most likely seed that I'm going to return to, and the one that I'm going to leave as my single recommendation for this video, because if I'm not mistaken in the intro, I said there'd be one seed I'd recommend if I was feeling lazy, and that one seed would be art, because sometimes I'm feeling really lazy and would really love to have a seed that was raring to go and absolutely ready for me to do all of the things that I wanted to do, and clearly this is that seed. It's a really decent overworld spawn with a village with a blacksmith that takes you straight to the nether, and then it's a decent nether spawn too. I don't want to look around the rest of this world to discover what else it has, because I'm sure that I'm going to find some goodies, and ultimately the fact that this is a seed I'm now ready and able to explore, and maybe you are too, is the real takeaway from this video. There are lots of bad seeds if you try one letters, in the same way that there's lots of bad seeds if you type in a random one. These are the 3 seeds I would most recommend, but here are the other 23 if you want them to. This has been the longest Seed Sunday I've done in a while. I spoke recently about how Seed Sunday is going away, except for specials, and yeah, so I guess the next time I'll probably see you will be for the best 10 seeds of 2025, which will still be happening. Is it 2025? Man, it feels like it's 2026 sometimes, right? You know, weren't the 2010s so long ago? Don't you miss them? But if you miss seeing these videos, you can make sure to subscribe, and you'll see more of them daily on your homepage. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.